My husband secretly went on a 15-day trip with his best friend. When he got back, I asked one question that froze him. Do you know what illness she has? He ran straight to the doctor, but by then, it was already too late. My husband walked through the front door at 6:47 p.m. on a Thursday with a tan he definitely didn't have 15 days ago. Hey, babe! Michael's voice was too cheerful, too bright. God, it's good to be home. He was wearing a linen shirt I'd never seen before. His face had that sun-kissed glow you only get from lying on a beach for hours. And when he hugged me, I smelled sunscreen. Coconut, the expensive kind. How was the conference? I asked, my voice honey-sweet. Exhaust. He pulled back, not quite meeting my eye. You know how those tech conferences are. Panel after panel. Networking dinners every night. I barely slept. I took his suitcase. Well, you look rested. The flight back was brutal. I passed out the whole way. I carried his luggage to the bedroom and started unpacking. Michael hovered in the doorway, watching me like I was a bomb that might explode. You don't have to do that, he said. I can unpack later. I don't mind. I pulled out shorts, swim trunks, a tank top with sand still clinging to the fabric. How's Mia? Did she enjoy the conference too? His whole body went rigid. She's fine. Why? Just curious. You two spend so much time together at work. Must be nice to have a friend like that. We're colleagues, that's all. Right. Colleague, smiled it. Colleague who go to conference together. How progressive. I'd known about the affair 3 months started. The way these things always do. Michael working late more often. Coming home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. Something floral and young. Not the Chanel I'd worn for 12 years. His phone suddenly gaining a password when it never had one before. Then came the texts. The ones he'd angle his phone away from me to read. The ones that made him smile in a way I hadn't seen in years. I told myself I was paranoid. That marriage counseling 2 years ago had made me hypervigilant. That I was seeing problems where there weren't any. But then he started saying her name. Mia. Mia had this great idea for the project. Mia thinks we should pivot the strategy. Mia said the funniest thing today. Always casual. Always like it meant nothing. Except his voice changed when he said it. Got soft, warmer. So I did what any wife would do in 2024. I checked his location history on Google Maps. That's when I found the hotel in Chicago. The boutique place in the West Loop with the rooftop bar and the 4-star restaurant. He'd told me he was visiting a client, staying at a Holiday Inn near O'Hare. But his phone had been at the Hoxton for 3 nights. And when I cross-referenced it with his credit card statement, the one he thought I didn't check, there were charges for 2 dinners, 2 breakfasts, 2 everything. I could have confronted him then. Should have, probably. But something stopped me. Some instinct that said, wait, see how deep this goes. So I hired someone instead. Rebecca Chen, private invest, 15 years of experience, 5-star reviews on 3 different websites. Cost me $3,500 for a 2-week surveillance package, worth every penny. The first report came back in 48 hours. Photos of Michael and Mia leaving work together, having coffee. Nothing damning yet, but definitely more than professional. The second report, a week later, showed them at a wine bar in Lincoln Park, sitting close, her hand on his arm, his hand on her knee under the table. The third report, 10 days in, was when everything clicked into place. They were at a travel agency. I could see them through the window in Rebecca's telephoto lens photos, looking at brochures, pointing at pictures on a computer screen, smiling. Rebecca had managed to get close enough to hear fragment conversation. 2 weeks would be perfect. The beach villa looked amazing. Tell her it's a conference. That's when Michael came home and told me about the big tech conference in Seattle. 2 weeks. Major clients. Couldn't miss it. Mia would be going too. Company policy. Always send 2 senior managers to these things. I smiled and said it sounded great. Kissed him goodbye. Waved as he drove away. And then I called Rebecca. Follow them. I don't care what it costs. They didn't go to Seattle. They went to Cabo San Lucas, to a 5-star resort called Esperanza. Ocean View Suite. $850 a night. Rebecca sent me photos every day for 15 days. Michael and Mia having breakfast on their private terrace, walking on the beach holding hands, kissing in the infinity pool at sunset, sharing a couple's massage at the spa, dancing at the resort's beachfront restaurant. In every photo, Michael looked happy, genuinely, freely happy. The way he used to look at me 12 years ago when we got married, the way he hadn't looked at me in at least 5 years. I saved every photo, organized them by date, backed them up to 3 different cloud services, and I waited. Now he was home, standing in our bedroom doorway, watching me unpack evidence of his lie. I'm glad you had a good time at the conference, I said, pulling out a resort gift shop t-shirt with Cabo San Lucas printed on the front. Michael's face went white. I bought that at the airport, layover in Mexico City on the way back. Really? Because there's a receipt in the pocket from a shop called Esperanza Boutique, and unless I'm mistaken, Esperanza is a resort in Cabo, not an airport. Someone must have given it to me. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop. I'm tired. Babe, I'm making dinner. Lasagna, your favorite. I brushed past him. Why don't you shower? You smell like coconut sunscreen and lies. I didn't confront him that night, or the next day, or the day after that. I just waited, watched, let him think he'd gotten away with it. Michael was jumpy, kept checking his phone, barely ate, looked at me like I might suddenly reveal I knew everything, but I just smiled, made small talk, asked about work. On the 3rd day, I said casually over breakfast, we should have Mia over for dinner. His coffee cup stopped halfway to his mouth. What? Mia, your colleague. I'd love to meet her properly. Get to know her since you two work so closely together. That's not necessary. I insist. It'll be fun. Friday night. I'll make that chicken thing you like. She's probably busy. I already texted her. I showed him my phone. Use the number you have saved in your contacts. She said yes. Isn't that great? Michael's face had gone from tan to gray in approximately 3 seconds. You went through my phone? You left it unlocked last week. I was just adding my grocery list to your notes and saw all your contacts, so I saved Mia's number for emergencies. I smiled. Hope that's okay. He didn't touch his coffee again. Friday came. I spent all day cooking. Roasted chicken with lemon and herbs, roasted vegetables, fresh bread, a chocolate cake for dessert. I set the table with our wedding china, lit candles, put on a dress dress Michael used to say he loved. Mia arrived at 7 p.m. exactly. She was prettier in person than in Rebecca's photos. Mid-20s, long dark hair, the kind of effortless beauty that doesn't need much makeup. Wearing jeans and a silk blouse that probably cost more than my dress. Hi! I opened the door wide. You must be Mia. I've heard so much about you. I hugged her, felt her stiffen in my arms. Come in, come in. Michael's just opening wine. The dinner was excruciating. Mia sat across from me, barely touching her food. Michael kept refilling his wine glass. The silence stretched between courses like Haffy. So, I said brightly, pouring more wine for Mia. How long have you two been working together? About 18 months, Mia said quietly. And you're close? As colleagues, I mean. We work well together. That's wonderful. Trust is so important in the workplace. A bite of Michael says you travel together sometimes for work, just occasionally. How was Seattle? The conference? Michael's wine glass hit the table with a thud. Red wine sloshed over the rim. It was fine, Mia said. Her voice had an edge now. Productive. I've always wanted to visit Seattle. Michael showed me some pictures. Oh wait, no, he didn't. I laughed. He said he was too busy to take photos. All those panels and networking dinners. Exhausting, right? Right. Although I did see some photos from the trip. The room went very still. Photos? Mia's voice cracked. The resort looked beautiful. That infinity pool? Stunning. And the beach? So romantic. Michael stood up abrupt. His chair scraped against the hardwood. I can explain. Sit down. My voice was steel, wrapped in silk. He sat. I turned to Mia. My voice shifted. Still pleasant, but with something underneath. How are you feeling these days, Mia? Health-wise? Her fork clattered to her plate. What? Just wondering if you've been feeling okay. Any unusual symptoms? Discharge? Burning sensation when you urinate? Her face went from tan to ghost white in 2 seconds. What are you? I pulled out a manila folder from the sideboard behind me, set it on the table between us. Let me help you remember. 3 weeks ago, 4 days before your trip to Mecca with my husband, you visited the quick hair clinic on Mia's hands started shaking. How did you? You listed Michael as your emergency contact. Did you know that gives him access to appointment notifications? And did you know that when someone's phone is synced family computer, those notifications show up there too? I opened the folder, slid a printed email across her. Appointment confirmation, Mia Torres. Date, October 3rd, 2024. Reason, STD testing. Results, positive. Chlamydia treatment, azithromycin prescribed. The document was partially redacted. I'd had to do some creative work to get even this much. But Mia didn't need to know that. You had chlamydia, I said calmly. Diagnosed 4 days before you and Michael flew to Cabo San Lucas for your romantic getaway. Michael's chair scraped backward. He was standing now, face red. This is insane! She didn't tell me! I didn't know! She didn't know either. Not yet. I pulled out another sheet. The symptoms started 5 days into your trip. That's when you went to the resort's medical clinic. Remember Mia? Complained of discharge and pelvic pain? They gave you antibiotics. Mia was crying now. Mascara running. I got treated. It's gone. I took the full course. For you, yes. But Michael? I turned to my husband. When was your last STD test? His mouth opened, closed. No sound came out. Here's the thing about chlamydia, I continued, my voice professor calm. Incubation period is 7 to 14 days. Mia got infected by someone, not sure who, doesn't matter, about 2 weeks before your trip. She was infectious when you two flew to Mexico. And you've been sleeping with both of us since you got back. Oh my God, Mia whispered. 3 times, I said, looking at Michael. You've had sex with me 3 times since you came home from Cabo, unprotected, because we're married and you've always said you'd never cheat. So why would I need protection from my own husband? Michael collapsed back into his chair. I'll get tested right now. I'll go to the clinic. Oh, you will. But first, I pulled out another sheet of paper. My own test results. I already got tested this morning. Negative, thank God. You're negative? Michael's voice was a whisper. Only because I stopped sleeping with you 2 months ago. The room went dead silent. What? Michael's voice cracked. 2 months ago, when I first suspected something was wrong. When you came home late 3 nights in a row smelling like that perfume. When you started password protecting your phone. I made an excuse. Said I had a yeast infection, remember? Needed to wait for it to clear up. His face told me he remembered. There was no yeast infection. I just stopped letting you because I didn't do it. And thank God I did. Mia stood up. I need to leave. Wait, I slid another envelope across the table. This is for you. She opened it with shaking hands. Pulled out a stack of photos. Photos of Michael with another woman. Younger than Mia. Blonde. In these pictures, they were at a coffee shop. A restaurant. Holding hands across a table. That's Jessica, I said helpfully. She works in HR at your company. Michael's been seeing her for about 8 months. Started before you two even got together. Mia's head snapped toward Michael. What? I can explain? Can you? I leaned back in my chair. Can you explain how you're sleeping with 3 women? Your wife, your work friend, and Jessica from HR? Can you explain how you told Mia you were falling in love with her while you were also telling Jessica the same thing? Can you explain any of this? Michael's mouth opened and closed like fish drowning in air. Mia threw the envelope at. Photos scattered across the table. Images of Michael's other affair, the one neither of us had known about. You're a liar, Mia said, her voice shaking. You told me you were leaving her. You said your marriage was over. He said the same things to Jessica. I interrupted. I have text messages. Want to see them? Mia grabbed her purse and walked out. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. Michael just sat there, staring at the photos scattered across our dining table. Here's what happens now, I said calmly. You're going to the doctor tonight. You're getting tested for everything. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, hepatitis, all of it. We can work through this. No, we can't. I pulled another envelope from the sideboard. Because I filed for divorce 3 days ago. Your papers are in here. He grabbed the envelope with shaking hands, pulled out the divorce petition, his name, my name, irreconcilable differences. I also contacted your company's HR department, I added. Sent them the expense reports showing you charged the Cabo trip to your corporate card. His face went from red to white. You didn't. I did. Told them my husband had gone to Cabo for 2 weeks and claimed it was was a business expense. They pulled your report, found $12,000 in fraudulent charge, the resort, flight, the spa treatment, all on the company dime. I'll lose my job. You'll lose more than that. Company is considering criminal charge. Corporate credit card fraud is a felony in Illinois. You're destroying my life. No, my voice was I. You destroyed your own life. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it. My phone rang. Perfect timing. I answered on speaker. Hello, Mrs. Richards? This is Dr. Patricia Martinez from Quick Hair Clinic on 5th Street. Michael Richards just came in for emergency STD testing. I'm calling because he listed you as his emergency contact and his rapid test came back positive. Michael's face went gray. Positive for what, doctor? Chlamydia. The infection is active. He'll need a course of antibiotics and follow-up testing in 3 weeks. I'm also recommending we test for other STDs given his situation. Thank you, doctor. I appreciate you calling. Of course. And Mrs. Richards, your negative results from this morning were verified. You're clear. Whatever precautions you took, they worked. Good to know. Thank you. I hung up. Michael had his head in his hands. His shoulders were shaking. Was it worth it? I asked quietly. 15 days in paradise with Mia. The lies, the risk, all of it? He didn't answer. You have chlamydia. You committed corporate fraud. You're losing your job and your wife. And both of your girlfriends now know about each other. How does it feel to have everything you built collapse in one dinner? Still nothing. I stood up, started clearing the table. I'm staying at my sister's tonight. You have until Sunday to move your things out. The house is mine. My lawyer made sure of that. It was my grandmother's, remember. You signed a prenup 13 years ago saying you'd never have a claim to it. I walked the door, grabbed my overnight bag from the coat closet. Oh, and Michael? Your mother called me this afternoon. Asked why I was filing for divorce. I told her everything. Thought you should know before you call her. His head snapped up. You told my mother? She asked. I'm not a liar. I opened the front door. Unlike you. I stayed at my sister's house for a week. Sarah held me while I cried, fed me ice cream, let me rage and grieve and process. You're a badass, she said on the third night. You know that, right? I don't feel like badass. I feel like an idiot. You're not. Saw the sign. You invest Excel. You documented everything. You played it perfectly. I should have confronted him earlier. Should have what? Believe lie? Let him gaslight you? You did exactly what you needed. Maybe she was right. The divorce moved fast. Michael tried to fight it at first, but his lawyer, Bradley Chen, family law specialist with 22 years of experience, took one look at the evidence and advised him to settle. Your husband committed adultery with at least 2 women, Bradley told me in our first meeting. He fraudulently charged personal expenses to corporate accounts. He exposed you to STDs, and you have documentation for all of it. Any judge in Illinois will side with you. The settlement was finalized in 4 months. I kept the house, got half his 401k. He had to cover all legal fees. Michael's company fired him 3 weeks after the dinner. The corporate fraud charges were dropped after he agreed to pay back $12,000 plus penalty, but his reputation in the tech industry destroyed. Mia quit her job 2 weeks after everything exploded. I heard through the grapevine that she moved to Denver, started over. Jessica from HR filed a complaint with the company about Michael's behavior. They settled out of court, paid her an undisclosed sum. She still works there, from what I understand. And Michael? Last I heard, he was working at a Best Buy in Schaumburg, living in a studio apartment, still single. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Rebecca Chen at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. Sarah! She hugged me. How are you? Getting better. Every day. I saw the divorce was finalized. Congratulations. Thanks for your help. Seriously. The evidence you gathered, that's what I do. Though I have to say, that dinner you orchestrated, brutal. I laughed. Was it too much? Are you kidding? He exposed you to an STD while lying about a vacation with his mistress who didn't even know he had another mistress. You were merciful. I just wanted the truth to come out. And it did. Spectacularly. She squeezed my hand. You did good, Sarah. Don't second guess it. A year after Michael came home from Cabo, I was sitting on my grandmother's porch, my porch now, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. This is Mia. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted to say thank you. You saved me from wasting more time on someone who didn't deserve either of us. I'm sorry for the pain I caused you. You deserve better than both of us gave. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, thank you for saying that. I hope you're doing well. She replied immediately, I am. Therapy helps. So does being 1,000 miles away. For what it's worth, I learned a lot from watching how you handled everything. You're stronger than I ever could be. You're stronger than you think. Take care of yourself. You too. I deleted the number after that. Didn't need it anymore. 2 years later, I'm sitting in that same coffee shop where Rebecca and I talked, meeting a first date. A guy named Tom I met at a book club. He's nervous, keeps adjusting his collar. So, he says, tell me about yourself. Think about how to answer that. About the marriage I thought was solid, the betrayal I discovered, the investigation the dinner that ended I'm a middle school science instead. I have a house in Lincoln Park my grandmother left. I like hiking and true crime podcasts and really good coffee. True crime? Any particular cases? The ones where people underestimate the person seeking the truth, I say. Those always end the most satisfyingly. He laughs. I like that. The underdog stories. Exactly. We talk for 2 hours about books and travel and families and dreams. He doesn't ask about my divorce. I don't volunteer. Some stories don't need to be told on a first date or a second or maybe ever, because the truth is I didn't expose Michael's affairs for revenge. I did it for closure, for truth, for the satisfaction of knowing that lies always come to light event. And sometimes patient enough, smart enough, brave enough, you can be the one holding the mat. 3 years after that dinner, I get a wedding in the mail. Jessica, HR Jessica, the third woman in Michael's triangle, is getting married to someone new. Someone who, according to her Instagram that I definitely don't still check occasionally, treats her like she hung the moon. There's a handwritten note tucked inside. Sarah, I know this is strange, but I wanted you to know that watching you handle your divorce taught me what self-respect looks like. I'm sorry for my part in your pain. Thank you for showing me that I deserve better. JIRSVP, yes. Send a generous gift, a KitchenAid mixer, and a card that says, wishing you all the happiness you deserve. And I mean it. Because here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't have to define you. Michael thought he could could have everything. The wife, the affair, the secret life, the lies. Thought he was clever enough to juggle 3 women without any of us knowing. He was wrong. And when his 15-day vacation came crashing down around him, when the STD and the fraud and the multiple affairs all exploded in one catastrophic dinner, he learned something important. You can't build a life on lies. Eventually, someone asks the right question. Eventually, the truth comes out. And eventually, you lose everything you stole, even your name, especially your name. Because now, when people in our social circle talk about Michael Richards, they don't talk about his career or his charm or his success. They talk about the guy who gave his wife an STD, the guy who got fired for corporate fraud, the guy who worked Best Buy after torpedoing his own life. And me? I'm the woman who exposed it all with one dinner party and one perfectly timed question. The woman who protected herself while he thought he was getting away with everything. The woman who proved that patience, documentation, and strategic timing beat lies every single time. Was it worth it? The investigation, the waiting, the dramatic reveal? Yes, every single second. Because 15 days in paradise cost Michael everything. And I didn't have to destroy him. The truth did it for me. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double check responses.